Hello everybody, it's VG time. This time bring you the deck profile from Joseph Cambell, who finished third at last weekend's core TCG event playing the Vegeks leader. I messed with the audio on this video, so I'm sorry about that, but I'll try to recreate it as best as possible as not to bring it to you too late or mess with Joseph's time. So just so you know, I asked him in the beginning to explain who he is, and I'm just going to give you a good idea of what's going on. So Joe doesn't play a lot of events, but all except for maybe like 3 events he played in, he has top 8 to 16 in. He is actually, to me, a fairly top tier player. He just doesn't play a lot, so you don't see his name come up often. So you don't know that he's constantly getting, third. No, he got third like 3 times, I think. 5th several times, 8th place. So you just don't really see him that often. So he's explaining that at this moment, and you're going to see more videos from him in the future because I'm confident he'll keep topping. Joe also is kind of annoying to me because I don't think he actually plays a lot. So he just is extremely good at the fundamentals of card games. And as such, he is able to play just about any card game at a fairly high level, assuming he knows the card pool that exists. And it wouldn't matter if he was playing Vegeks or if he was playing any other deck. He was mentioning how he chose Vegeks because he still believed that the deck is very strong, which I think is very evident by the recent finishes of Vegeks. And so he's going to go into his packages and what he's playing. So we're not really going to go over the leader. We all know what the leader does, so we don't have to get into that too much. But he's going to start off with his overwhelm package. So you see he is playing, actually no, the free stuff first, I'm sorry. So he starts off with the free stuff, and the free stuff is pretty self-explanatory. You don't really have to go over that too much. Everything's free. You play it. Why not? He talks about how great the Kai is, which I would tell everybody, if you're playing any kind of deck that has a black sand leader and you didn't want to play the whole engine, you should at least play the Kai, because the Kai is useful at any point, whether or not you draw it or not. The rest of them, if you draw it, they're kind of meh, but the Kai is always good. And if you mill it, then great. So that's kind of really it for the free stuff. So next up, we're going to get into his overwhelm package. And this package is very strong. If you saw the gameplay video, you see how he had used all these cards just about. So Man on a Mission, the Demagra. We also have the Secret Identity. And lastly, well, not lastly, the Ravager and the Brainwash No More. So the Man on a Mission is a lot of his early game pressure. He wants to, as soon as possible, pull this card out. And from pulling this card out, be able to create a situation where his opponent is put into a card disadvantage situation. So if you saw the gameplay video, when he came at me and he was like 25 double strike crit, I just took it because I know how to react to a situation like that. Now, a lot of people will see that and freak out and try to combo out of it, and that's just the wrong way to do it. You take that hit, you let it be, you keep it pushing. He even mentioned to me after our game that if I comboed out of that, he was just going to end his turn and leave me at such a low card count and then pressure me with crit for the rest of the time. The Demagra, he uses it primarily as removal. He doesn't love the card because it seems expensive for 2 energy when everything else is free, but it is a thing. And in the longer matchups, it does help to be able to rip cards out the hand. But he usually swings it at other battle cards, at people's unisons. The Vegeta, he loves quite a bit because it is a great option when going second. That means he gets to be a little bit more aggressive off the rip. So he mills 5. If he hits a couple of things, great. And then he gets to overrun the Vegeta, mill 3 more, and possibly hit something else. And then the Vegeta itself has crit, so is able to, again, put similar pressure. And he also will have that energy up, so he'll be able to throw a chomp on it to create the poor man's version of the man on a mission. And then, of course, Secret Identity is Secret Identity. Not much to talk about there. Just good removal overall. But then we get down to the Mass Saiyan Brainwash No More. And he has one copy of it because that's what he has access to. But he uses it very different than a lot of people. Granted, if he has it in his hand at the right time and everything, that's great. He uses it, prevents himself from dying. But the better way to use it when you have one, in his opinion, and I understand his opinion because I'm going to get into that a little later, is he charges it. He charges it, and that automatically makes his opponent think he has one more copy in his hand. So now when they go for swings that could possibly kill him, they won't combo in hard on those swings because they know that in their mind, from the information of him charging that card, that he has another copy of that card in his hand. So it creates the greatest bluff ever. And he does that with another card in the deck too, which I'll talk about. But that is the overrun package. Now, next up, let's see, what are we going into? Oh, yes. So we have the Goku. I believe we also have the Mass Saiyan and the Kami. So these are the one-drop package that he has. I talked to him about it because the Goku, of course, is no-brainer, so is the Mass Saiyan. But the Kami came up more than I actually thought it would come up, especially at one of. But he mentions how usually he mills it, and even if he mills an overrun, say he's good because of Power Burst. So in situations where the board gets out of hand and they try to aggro him back, he could create an opening to get the Kami, use the Kami to clear their board, and then, play a bunch of free to cheap stuff to try to get back in. The Goku, of course, creates a lose-lose situation against counter attacks and counter plays. The Mass Saiyan prevents certain decks from being able to play their strategy entirely, such as King Piccolo and various other ones. So they have to clear it before they could even do anything else. But yeah, right now he's explaining the Kami, and then I asked him about the Vegeta that hurts warping, and he believes that it really isn't worthwhile to play main deck, but it might be a side deck consideration, which makes a lot of sense. So if you're going against like Invoker or anything like that in the future, you would probably take out the Black Mass Saiyans, put in the Vegetas, and completely clamp them down on their options as far as being able to play the game. So let's see. Oh, he's also talked about how playing these guys allow him to be able to awaken more aggressively, which is very key to Vegeks. A lot of times people don't expect him to have the necessary means to awaken, and then he drops a couple of these awaken, have huge turns, and then they just die. So next up, I think we're going into extra cards, but let's see what he's doing. Yeah, I'm probably just droning on about something right now. And yeah, he's talking about the Vegeta play right now. And he's explaining why he's not running it. So next up, we're looking at, super combo. We have the super combo. He explains why he loves that super combo. And then next up is the next card he plays Mind Games, which is the 3 Champas, 1 Kai. So he wants his opponent to think that he is running 6 to 8 double strikers in his deck. Because if he mills a Kai and a Champa at any point in time, his opponent is going to have to guess how many double strikers he has. So they're going to use negates early and often, not thinking that he only has 4 total double strikes. And then he talks about the, the power of that. And again, mind games using information, known information to create a thought in your opponent's head of misinformation is very, very strong in this game. Especially the better the opponent is, the more they're going to see that and think harder about what's going on. Then we have the super combo, and he's talking about how the super combo actually helps him to get cards back into the deck that, of course, he wants in the deck, but also it helps him to manage the amount of cards left in his deck when he's a little bit down to the wire, because he's not playing a 60 card list. His list size, I believe, is 56 cards. And so he has to be a little bit more careful than just a smidge bit more careful than the average Vegeks player as far as how many mills he does and things like that. That's why when you saw in our gameplay video on his awakening turn, when he finally was able to awaken, he did not mill on the front side, flip, and then mill again because he already overwhelmed several times. So he couldn't afford to do that, or else he would have decked out. While if he had the extra 4 cards, it would have possibly been a case where he could do that. But he had traded that in for a little bit more consistency. At 56, the numbers, the percentages kind of go up in your favor that you're going to mill hot stuff. So next up, yep, here's the extra cards. This is the super interesting stuff. So Majin Buu. Majin Buu allows him, and this is a card I don't see in a lot of Vegeks lists anymore, and I actually don't understand it because this card is amazing. It allows you to pinpoint in how many cards you're going to mill off the top of your deck and how many cards go in your drop. So you could guarantee your awakening a turn or 2 early. So if you're going first on turn 1, you charge an energy, you mill 5, you get what you get. They come at you, you Majin Buu, you mill 5, or you mill 4, you put the 5th in. On your turn, you mill 5 again. And now you're at a case where one more Majin Buu puts you to full awakening. Or if you only needed to get 2 more cards in the drop to awaken, you could swing with leader, activate Majin Buu, mill only 1 card, then the Majin Buu and that 1 card going in the drop, there you go, 20. And the drop area removal is also powerful, helping him to keep people off of Overwhelm or get rid of cool drop area interactions like Zarbon and whatnot. Power Burst, he explaining the power of the card. I think we all know how powerful the card is and the ability to grab and tutor things. But he's also saying that the Majin Buu almost act like another negate, because when someone comes in with a super combo to attack, you can just pay 1 and stop the entire attack. And then he also mentioned how normally he doesn't love a lot of negates, but Power Burst is able to change his mind on that in this particular deck because of how many options he has to grab. So yeah, very good options right there. And like I said, the Majin Buu, Human Extinction, if you're not putting that in your Vegeks deck, you should really consider it. I think it's just very good at this moment. Even if you're going against like a deck like Dark Broly, they're coming in with a 30k swing. Normally you have to dump a bunch of cards to try to not get hit. Or you just Majin Buu and a random card on the table and you get out the attack. While also keeping their graveyard a little off kilter to prevent them from being able to, like let's say they already used their leader effect and they had plans on making another guy. You could just take that guy away and they can't even make that guy. All right. Next up, we are looking at A few more cards. And sorry about his video. It was also kind of messing up too. But we have 3 Koi Sakai and 1 copy of Heroines. Koi Sakai kind of goes without saying. He speaks about how, you know, he doesn't like people playing cards on his turn. So Koi Sakai is kind of key to that. And then he mentioned Heroines lineage. He mentioned that he had an option between Kai and Heroines. He didn't know which one to go with. He chose Heroines. He wished he went with Kai because there was so many times that making a 1-drop 40K matter. And this is something that I kind of bring up a lot when people talk about, oh, you know, Heroines versus Kai and Heroines is better. I don't actually believe that's the case at all. I think there are niche situations where Heroines is better, but I think Kai, for most situations, is a better generic SCR. Only thing that makes Heroines really good is that it's relatively inexpensive compared to others, and it's still a very powerful effect. But he said he only ever thought about playing it once, and then he decided, no, I'm just going to kill my opponent. Like, why am I going to waste my time doing all this? While Kai, on the other hand, he can make a 40K beater, swing, throw a chomp on it, 50K double strike, and then if his opponent gets out of that, he can just pay 1 and clear the board, which is a very different level of power than what Heroines lineage allows you to have. So maybe in the next tournament, he said he's going to play the Kai. So that's about it. So again, I'm going to have a link to the video of our gameplay up in the cards, and we'll catch you next time. This is